the traditional classroom method of making notes, of doing this pen and paper thing. And some of the interesting things that I found was already in the last decade, the value of this entire self-help industry has grown to $10 billion just in the US. The other important, interesting things that I found was that these books are very often read as guides. So people read them, then leave them. They're not really reading it cover to cover like a novel. The other thing that was interesting for me was that this was about adult learning. So it was therefore far more about interaction and conversation than a traditional learning situation. Some of the key takeaways that I had from my desk research were, just things like how sometimes the quality of the user, the learner, the student was far more important than the teacher and the teaching method. What a huge impact peer interactions had on this kind of learning. And of course, the idea of setting challenging goals, which was slightly out of their comfort zone, and just having a sort of path that they were going to follow became very critical. um, During my survey, I had a total of 94 responses, out of which I found 51 were book readers of the kind of books that I had mentioned in my survey, and they were above 21 years of age, so therefore adult. I also looked at who were these users. So I found that 35 uh, out of the 51 actually had traits of a growth mindset, whereas 17 had a fixed mindset. I tried to use this to understand my user a little bit better. From there, I moved to then talking to users. I did around 6 interviews, and I found that a lot of what people were saying was about conversations, was about answering unscripted questions. Somebody was saying they liked to have it explained to them like they were a 3-year-old, and yet again there were other users who were talking about how this for them was an alternative to very clinical structured therapy. And in terms of the emotions that they were working with, it kind of was on a spectrum, right? So it started from people who are very confident, knowledgeable, and also all the way over to insecure and overwhelmed at times. And then basis this, I was able to move on to my next step, which was about defining the problem, defining the user. And it was becoming increasingly clear that uh, interacting with each other and discussing what they had read, or what they were trying to learn or apply, was really helping users to understand the principles of what they were reading. From here, I moved into defining the actual personas. I had 3 primary personas that I was looking at. The first one I called the master. This was somebody who was very confident. He was a learner. He was learning to teach, and that in turn was helping him to learn further. The second one was Kea, who was like this eternal student, always learning, always trying to upskill, always trying to, get more information that she could use in her professional or social life. And then, of course, there was somebody like Alan, who was really needed this kind of learning, right? So he might be going through a difficult life situation, but didn't want to turn to therapy because that seemed too serious, right? And one of the important insights that I had was that uh, all of this learning was kind of like delayed gratification. They saw the results much later. But the minute it moved into a social interaction, which was here and now, that instant connection kind of gave them that little boost that they needed to move forward in this journey. And therefore, the how might, I had several how might we's, but therefore the how might we that I decided to go ahead with was, how might we create a community of learners that really support one another, and talk about and discuss all of these things with each other. Moving forward, I went into the ideate phase, and the kind of rough idea that I had in my mind was this book club meets a support group. And for that, I tried to map the user stories of a new user, what they would want to do. And with that in mind, I actually started ideating directly on Figma with wireframes. So I did rounds and rounds of wireframes. I think I had 3 rounds of wireframes with, a rough onboarding flow, a rough sort of wireframe that I was working with. And then every time I did a new version, the flow kept changing. I kept adding and subtracting till I came back to something that I felt worked for me, um, as what I was calling like the happy flow that we had discussed. And then what I did actually was straight away move into testing rather than going into prototyping. So I actually tried to test every round of the wireframe that I was doing. And what turned out was that there were huge gaps. So some of them were UX issues, some of them were UI issues, some were about color, some were about not giving enough feedback, not giving enough information. Even how people were discovering book clubs, I needed to go back and relook at. And from there, I felt like I was finally ready to move into something of a more high fidelity type of prototype. In order to do the prototype, the first thing, of course, that we did was build this kind of mood board. And the mood board that I was looking at was obviously inspired by books, this feeling of this friendly social club, this lounge library, that sort of uh, but grown up kind of feel, right? So therefore it became more and more apparent to me that the logical choice was a dark mode rather than a light mode, to also differentiate it from a lot of reading apps. And then, of course, color came from the mood board. It came from the blue for trust, the warm sort of tone for reflecting the books. And then even for the typography, I paired a sans serif, very contemporary sort of app font, with a serif font which kind of reflected the traditional learning that I was talking about. And I worked on the material design system to actually build a lot of the components on things that I felt I would need in the kind of journey that I was doing. And from here, very quickly, if you just allow me, I'll switch to the window with the prototype. Okay, please let me know if my prototype is visible now.
Now, yes.
Okay, great. I'll just start with the app launch. So I've divided the flow into three parts. One is the app launch, the second is the app tutorial, and finally the one flow that I detailed out. So this is the launch, where basically I was talking about what this entire app is about, the fact that it is a new chapter in your life. It kind of helps you to be a new person, to learn something new every single day. And from there, very quickly get people to sign up. Once they signed up, they're kind of welcomed, they're asked a question. uh, of course, they can skip this entire sort of question and answer, but the idea to do this is obviously if they want a recommendation, right? And once they fill that in, they get to answer a few more questions. The kind of events that are possible within the book club are both remote and in person, or you could do what you like. If you choose both or in person, then we'll ask you for your location. Once you've done that, then topics that you might enjoy reading about, authors that inspire you, and then of course setting goals right up top, so we know what you're looking for out of this. And from there, we then spend a couple of seconds just calculating what's best for you, and then you're all set. The next thing that I wanted to do was really create like a little tutorial, so people really knew what was there. They feel comfortable and friendly and welcomed like they would in a club. And for that, I did a little mini tour and basically told them what's in the home, which is like a personalized selection of the newest and most popular book clubs and events which are happening near you. What's happening in the profile, where all of your progress, your goals are all sort of tracked. Also, where the clubs are that you can find, and the different ways to find clubs, right? So you could search by the book name, the author name, or subject matter. And then finally, the events that you're obviously here to attend. And once you get comfortable, perhaps even host one of your own. And then you're ready to sort of go. I'll move to the app flow now. So basically, once you land on the home page, this is your personalized view. So you have the clubs, you have, you can follow some authors, you can attend a special event, and you can browse generally, by category or otherwise. Since community was such an important part, I also wanted to surface on the home page other members and what they were up to, the number of clubs they were part of, what they were hosting, etc. Within the clubs, I had sort of different categories, and what was, again, just a lot of different kind of clubs that they could join. Let's say they were interested in this particular club and they joined it, there would be certain sort of, what were the reviews and ratings. It would tell you who's the club host, other members you might recognize. And you would then notice that some of these were members only events, so you could of course attend something without joining the club. But once you joined the club, you would get like a little welcome message, and then you can see that all of these are now accessible. So let's say you chose to attend one of these events, you could actually go in and see some details. You could add this, in which case it could go to your calendar, or you could join it if it's about to start right away. And then that would be like a regular video call, right? And you could attend this call. Once you're done with the call, then we'll request for a review. which could be simply, we already give you some cues of what kind of review you can leave, and then also some sort of a streak of how many times you've left reviews or engaged with the events. And then from there also an achievements page can be accessed, which kind of gives you tracks your sort of achievement and progress. The other way that you could possibly access this is through your profile, which kind of has all of your followers, who you're following, your interests, the clubs you're part of, your upcoming events, and so on. The other way to attend events, for the event page itself, I did a calendar view which showed what is happening today, this week, and coming up in the month, and basically also other things that you're perhaps not member of, but interesting events that are coming up there. Yeah, that's about it for me. That's all I have to share. Thanks.
Congrats, Ruchi. Wow, amazing. I really love your design. Super clean and consistent from your research, all the data that you gather, and then going there. Amazing, amazing. I love it. Really like it.
Thank you.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Any feedback, Diana?
Yes. Hi, Ruchi. Hi, everyone. So just some feedback that I wanted to share. I think you did an impressive job, and all the way from the research to hypothesis research and execution of the UI, I think you did really, really a good job. So well done. And I especially like the part of the research, also because I think that was not necessarily an easy topic. It was not straightforward. You had to learn a lot about motivation and things that people don't necessarily notice when they do it. So getting people to talk about that surely wasn't easy. So well done on that. And I also like the fact that you decided to test every round of the wireframe. I know it's not easy because of time, because of learning, so it can be challenging to just get your designs out when you're not maybe 100% comfortable with them at the during the first iteration. So I think that was another really good thing that you did. I have a question. Have you considered, rather than developing your own video call kind of software integrated in the app, to integrate with other apps that already are doing this job already very well, like Google Meet or Zoom, and just having some sort of link?
Yeah, actually, I looked at Zoom and I literally said it could be integrated with a Zoom call. I actually spent a lot of time wondering what actually happens in a club, right?
Okay.
And I had Mercedes will know this if she's on the call. Like I had lots of plans. It could be video, audio, chat, lots of resources, lots of things happening. And then the simplest thing seemed to be just to get people in one call and, similar to this, just, have a conversation live.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. Thank you. And yeah, well done. Good job.
Thank you so much. And thanks for everything that I've learned from all of you.
Thank you, Ruchi. And Diana, more feedback or any question? No. So we are going with Marta.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. Let me share my screen. There. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah, good. All right, so hi everybody. I'm gonna present the work I've done over this really amazing course over the past about 10 weeks. And I'm gonna start with a little bit of background of why I chose this specific project. So I'm a psychologist, and I know that there's a lot of research about how creativity has a very beneficial impact on psychological well-being. And we also know that social activities have beneficial effects. And I think over the summer, most of us were very keen to resume social activities after a lot of time they were put on hold because of COVID. And so I thought, why not combine the two and try to find a way to find local workshops to practice creative hobbies together with other people. But when you actually go online, there's a lot of ways to find online workshops, and I found a lot more difficult to find the local offering in the area for creative workshops. So that's where I started from. And I'm gonna just show briefly touch upon a little bit of the process I went through. So in terms of research, I had three main objectives. One was to really understand the level of awareness that people have about these beneficial effects of creativity on psychological well-being. And then I also obviously wanted to understand if the problem that I was facing was only my problem, or was more general. So what process people go through when they want to learn a creative hobby or a new technique, whether how they find workshops and what motivates them to find local workshops instead of online. And also understand the process the artists go through when they want to advertise their workshops. So how they do it, what platform they use, and what's their whether they're happy with it or they actually want to reach more students. So I had a lot of broad objectives. So I built this kind of monster survey that had lots of questions, both closed questions and open questions. And I was targeting people with current creative hobbies, so they had creative hobbies in the past, to ask them how they were finding workshops, how they learned it, what motivated them. I was targeting the artists to understand, again, how they advertise the workshops and what's their favorite method of teaching, if they're happy with the amount of students they can reach. And there was also, and I think most importantly, that it became actually very important, I was also asking questions to people that don't have a creative hobby to really understand whether they're aware of the effects of creativity on well-being and why they never had a creative hobby. And so I had about 100 responses, just shy of 100. And I was lucky enough that a lot of people actually provided very detailed answer to the open questions I had. And so I was able to do both qualitative and quantitative research from these results from the survey. In terms of insights, the main insights from the quantitative analysis were that people like, actually, even when they have a creative hobby already, they like to learn new ones every now and then. And interestingly, the people that never had a creative hobby, most of them had no idea about the effects of creativity on well-being. But almost all of them, when they heard about it, they actually mentioned that they would like to try. So that was quite interesting for me. I also collected all the qualitative answers, and I did a empathy map and then an affinity mapping for getting themes. And most of the themes that came out were around well-being, so how creative hobbies make people feel, the motivation for learning a specific creative hobby, and also how they chose the learning method, whether face-to-face or online, and why. And so from the qualitative results, the main insights were there that, first of all, when people do something creative, they all experience the beneficial effects of creativity on well-being. The motivation for learning a specific form of art or craft often comes from family and friends. And that of the people that never had a creative hobby, one of the main motivation was thinking that they were not creative enough, or they weren't very good at arts in school, and so they wouldn't be able to. And an interesting one was also that hobbies that prefer workshops online instead of face-to-face, they usually do it because of budget and flexibility, but they're all aware that doing it face-to-face provides a different level of experience when learning a craft. And so from them, I built my archetypes. I have obviously two obvious users. The creative person that already likes to find face-to-face workshops, and they just need to have a better way, an easier way to find them. And the artist that needs to have a better way to advertise their workshops and reach out to more students. But I really wanted to focus also on the non-obvious user. So especially the non-creative, the person that thinks that they're not good enough, they never found the motivation and the inspiration to actually try a new craft. And so from there, I went to my ideation phase. The main, I had several, how might we, but the actual one that I wanted decide to focus on was around this idea of motivation and inspiration. So how might we help people feel motivated and inspired to learn crafts? And we went through a few crazy aids, including with a couple of fellow students that provided me with some amazing ideas. And so I was able to implement some of them into my final solution. So I went through some sketches and then translated the sketches into Figma. And I went through testing the actual wireframe prototype before moving on to final colors and adding UI. And that was actually quite useful because I went through a few iterations into that. And then when I was happy with a final, how the final solution was looking like, then I moved on to the UI. And in terms of branding, I had this idea of be creative, with the reference to the bee being around the community and people doing things together for a goal that is, in this case, learning and feeling better. And so I went with as color inspiration with beehives, and then bees and creativity is both bring to mind in my mind spring, so awakening of creativity, awakening of nature. And so I went with like spring wildflower colors. And so that's my design system, colors, the neutrals, some of the buttons, some of the illustrations, and the fonts I used. I actually went to build all my components, but I'm not showing the whole thing here because I think it's probably time to see the whole thing together. I hope you can see this now that I switched window.
Yes, perfect.
So this is my final solution. So when the user first gets on the home page as a non-member, they see this carousel with inspirational quotes and some activities meant to, inspire people, like a monthly subscription craft kit and things like that. And then they can read something about the creative effect of, the beneficial effect of creativity on well-being and what Be Creative offers. So finding local craft workshops, the idea of the community and the inspiration. Then the different categories they can find workshops on. They get to see an example of the workshops that are being advertised, and some examples of the community, so projects that people, that other members share, and some testimonials. And so if they are motivated enough to try it out, then they decide to join. They can sign up with different social media, and here they get a little screen in which they're asked to indicate their interests so that we can recommend workshops for them. So let's say they want to try drawing workshops, and they go in Let's Start. And now they get into the members homepage, so they can see a menu with different options, and they get 3 recommendations based on their interest that they indicated. And then again, if there's nothing there that particularly interests them, they can browse the categories. They get to see more examples of workshops upcoming in the city, more of the projects. And then because the community was so important, I also have featured users and featured artists. So let's imagine they just want to explore what's happening in Barcelona. So they get to this workshop view where they can filter, and they are they're interested in drawing. So that filters to the drawing workshops in Barcelona. And here, initially I had, and then they also get some other recommendations at the bottom. So here I originally had a grid view and a list view. And then testing it, I realized that the actual list view wasn't really adding a lot to the experience. It was just the same information in a different format. But when it comes to workshops, especially for hobbies, what's important to the users is if they have a specific day that they're free. And so here they can go on the calendar view and maybe say, look at what's available on Saturday. Or they might need to find something that is close to home or close to work. And so they can go on the map view and then maybe see what's going on close to them. And so they love this mandala drawing. So they go into the workshop page. Here they can read more about the workshop, what they will learn, what's going on, what they will be able to do by the end of the class, what they need. They see the artist profile, and then here on the side, location and date, price of all the important information, but they also get to see what other people are actually already registered for attending this workshop and what members of previous editions have shared in terms of project to the community after doing this workshop. And so from here, they can just decide they want to book and go to their basket where they can check out or go back and explore more. And I think this is what I have to share with you. Thank you for listening. And I also wanted to thank allWomen and all the amazing people that instructors and mentors and teaching assistant that helped us and all my fellow students. It was really great to be here.
Amazing, Marta. Wow, impressive. I was just thinking about that. You came from psychology and all your UI, it's like impressive, you know? All the animation, everything.
Thanks.
Love it. Amazing. Great presentation. Susana?
Hey Marta, super nice. I really like your process, how you explained it. I think it's really cool. I was putting here in the chat because I had a question more towards the end with the prototype. So I didn't understand very well, like where do you feed the content of your website, like the workshops? It's just like local artists or institutions or something?
So the idea is that we will be local artists, so there would be a section for the artists to actually input their details of their workshop and advertise them.
Did you talk about like also announcing like institutions, or for example, I'm thinking, so I do these aquarella classes. I'm one of your possible users. And I do it at the Centro Cívic of Barceloneta. So I was wondering if you had thought about this possibility of also cooperating with local institutions instead of...
that's very interesting, actually. Yeah, that would be a very interesting idea. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. I think I need to talk to more of the artists as well to see what is the process, because I go to a pottery community studio, and the artists there, they advertise their workshops independently, but they host them in the studio. So I'm not sure, like if it's the artists themselves in this kind of community places or the institution that is supposed to advertise. But yeah, that would be very interesting.
That would be a nice good step for you to understand a little bit, like how they go a little bit deeper in how they set up business, how they announce, how these collaborating spaces work, or maybe even have places that you can rent actually. So if you think about monetizing your product, besides being useful for your users and adding value, maybe some people want to give some workshops and they don't have a space, and you could facilitate that, for example.
Yeah.
So continue to think about it to go deeper. Well done.
Great. Thanks.
Diana?
Marta, do they teach Figma at psychology school? That was really impressive.
Thanks.
All the animation, the little details. No, seriously, I think it was very impressive how you looked after all the details. That was really, really good and well executed.
Yeah.
If I can share some just minor feedback with you, I know it's probably not the main part, or actually not the job of a product designer, but when you when you're thinking about branding, in this case, I'm wondering if having a brand that is a little bit less strong than yours, because you've chosen different things that are like communicate a very strong branding presence. If in your case, actually having something that is a little bit more invisible could help adoption, because I'm thinking that workshops can have their own visual identity, or different people coming from different background can look after a different kind of experience. So maybe having a brand that is a little bit more like transparent. I'm wondering if this could help getting more people and more workshops on the platform. It was just that, but really good job.
Thanks. Thank you.
And Laura?
Yes. Yeah, and indeed, my comment I think is a little bit similar to what Diana has just said. But well, first of all, like indeed impressive, and especially like you have no visual background. I think it's really a great job. I'm really happy to see that you're also targeting non-creative people, because I remember at the beginning your main focus would be on people who are already convinced about like the need of creative hobbies. But I'm wondering, like, how will we get these non-creatives to the platform initially? Because the moment they arrive at the platform, they've already decided or they've already understood that this is something good for them, right? So I think there's an opportunity here to also look into what, like what we can do in order, and maybe that's indeed what I wanted to say as well, like the branding could be different in a way that it's more related to like your mental health rather than to creative, I don't know, in some way, like to really attract people who don't think that this is the solution for them, but then find out that actually there's a great opportunity for them to start doing new things. But super nice. Thank you.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, great feedback. Thanks. That's the difficult part, right? Yeah, but that's never done think about that. Thanks.
Thank you, Laura, Diana, and Susana, for your feedback, and congrats, Marta.
Thank you.
Super impressed. Next one is going to be Julia, sorry, for my Spanish.
Yes. Let me share my screen. Okay. Do you see my screen?
Yes, perfect.
Okay. Well, hello. My name is Julia, for the ones that don't know me. And my project is about a flexible working mode. The initial problem of my project is starting seeing my friends and colleagues and how they feel demotivated at work during this time of the COVID-19 pandemic. And I started with some assumptions that the motivation, it was because of the burnout or work fatigue, and also because they feel disengaged from the team. After my initial problem, I determined an initial hypothesis and some research goals to start investigating and researching about this topic. That's why my initial hypothesis was believing that focusing on employees' needs will make them adapt better to this new working mode, and that will make them have more motivated at work, more motivation at work. And also the research goals was understanding employees' motivation, their needs and frustrations, and also this new workplace environment. After that, I used different methods. The first one was the desk research, where I read some articles and studies. Also, I did some competitive analysis, and also I've done primary research, which was based on user interviews and surveys using Google Forms. In total, I've done 10 interviews and 38 survey responses I got. Those are some of the results I got. For my interviews, I started with some assumptions, then learning goals, and then research questions. I got some notes from all these interviews, and then I've done an affinity map to be able to structure and categorize the different information that they gave me. After all this research, I got interesting findings. As for example, most of them are happy choosing where they want to work. Others miss their colleagues because maybe they don't go to the office the same day. And others really appreciate this time for their hobbies. I got 89% of the participants with 25 to 34 years old, and they were from creative roles. 71% of them, they work in a hybrid working model, and 67, they are not happy with this 9 to 6 working schedule. That's why, for my insights, I realized that they had three top needs. The first one was the time flexibility. The second one was team connection, and the third one was communication. That's why I arrived to the final hypothesis that I believe that offering a more dynamic and flexible working mode will improve employees' freedom and happiness. That's why before arriving to a solution, also I thought it was important to have an archetype and understanding better my user. And that was a young adult from 25 to 35 years old with some professional experience, with some higher education, someone who is digital work-based or works with internet, probably someone who is not happy at work, who is looking for new opportunities, and someone who has freedom and flexibility as golden goals. After that, I raised my how might we, and this was give employees more freedom and flexibility when they are working. That's why I arrived to a solution that was create a tool to help them to organize their working schedule and be able to let them choose from where, when, and with whom they want to work. With this ideation, I used different techniques. The first one was the Crazy 8, which from this Crazy 8, I started doing some sketches. And then I arrived to the wireframes low fidelity, which I started creating in Figma. In that way, it allowed me a tool to start testing. From the usability test, I realized that my first project wasn't really working because the information wasn't really organized and the layout wasn't clear for the users. Also, I didn't have a really clear flow, so that made them really confused and they didn't know where to go or where to click. And also realize that colors, that as I'm talking about flexibility and different working modes, remote, office, and not working, I needed different colors to differentiate that. After that, I arrived to a design system. I use Roboto typography. I use bold, medium, and light. And then I use a palette. I use primary colors and then secondary colors. The primary colors, they were the purple and dark navy. And then for the secondary ones, I use green, purple, and gray. For these second ones, I did an accessibility test because I thought it was important for my users and for color-blind people to be able to see the difference between all these three colors. Then I create an iconography, simple but visual, and then here on the right of the page, you can see some of the components and elements of the pages. After that, I create high fidelity wireframes, and I'll show you my prototype. So welcome to book. This is my tool, where it can be connected with other project management tools. In my case, I just choose Asana and Slack. Can be synchronized. Then the first screen, the user can use a generic schedule if they prefer working from home or working remotely, and then the days of the week that they prefer to work. So from the dashboard, the user can see the working schedule, not only where they choose to work, also the times, but at the same time, they can see their colleagues, schedule. Also, they can choose different weeks to work. They have some statistics where it shows how many days a week they have worked and where they mainly work, if it's remote or at the office. At the same time, in the full calendar, they have the view of the different weeks, and they can manage their time. The team calendar, they can see the schedule of the different colleagues, and also they can see the core time, if it's someone who has to be working at a specific time or has a specific meeting. And in the same way, they can change the schedule to match it with another color. Also, they have notifications where if someone from the team changes their working mode, every user can see it, and then they can change it as well. And here on the right is an easy way to see who is in that time working in the office. All right, so for next steps, I'm planning to have a chat integration where can be linked to a communication tool. In that case, as on the prototype, I choose Slack, so integrated to Slack. Also develop more working locations. Right now, I just choose remote or the office, but also as the main goal for this tool is give employees flexibility and freedom. So can be added some co-working spaces. Also think another good thing for next steps could be have an employee remote. Right now I'm just focused on the employee and how they can see this website. And I will do more usability testing. Thank you very much.
Great, Julia. Great presentation. I really like the UI. I'm super impressed in this edition of the UI, even though not all of you have graphic design background. So amazing. I really love the idea. Well done. I love seeing the chat with all the comments. Any question or feedback? All clear? Awesome. Thank you, Julia.
Okay, thank you.
So next one is going to be Marianne.
Yes. I'm going to present now.
Perfect.
Yes. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Well, hi, I'm Marianne. Thank you for being here. I am an art historian who is currently changing careers to UX and UI, and I'm very happy to show you my project today, and I'm very looking forward for your feedback. So my project started with a problem I been having since I arrived in Barcelona 4 years ago, and it's also something that my friends have told me they've been having problems with. It has to do with the overall experience of going to the cinema in Barcelona in general, but specifically related to the search tools available. So my problem is that film enthusiasts in Barcelona don't have one single source for finding information on independent cinema listings and purchasing tickets. Once I established my problem, I did some desk research to know which were the websites and apps that were addressing this same problem. And I learned that the websites usually showed listings but didn't let you buy the tickets. They only showed the most popular or biggest cinemas, and there was a lot of information that most of the times wasn't relevant to the main goal of the website. Also, apps only showed a specific cinema chain's listings. And once I had these learnings, I determine my hypothesis, which is that I believe that creating a search tool for film enthusiasts that shows all the information on independent cinema listings and allows them to buy tickets would improve their experience when going to the cinema. So my main goals were to understand film enthusiast motivations for going to the cinema and which were the current search tools they were using and how comfortable they felt using these, their happy moments and pain points. So after that, I started working on my interview guide and my survey. I did 5 interviews and I received 38 responses, where the main topics were, in general, their experience when going to the cinema, how they find out about cinema listings, and what are the current platforms, search platforms they use, if any. So after this, in order to make sense of all the information I collected, I used the Affinity Map method. That it really helped me to make sense of all the information and, yeah, to find the patterns and to get to my insights. So I found many insights, but the most relevant for my research or for my project were that there were no current apps or web pages improving their experience at the moment, that there were too many steps they had to follow in order to buy the tickets, and the listing informations were spread over multiple sources. Also, the users would like to see listings and buy tickets in one place. This last insight is very important because it confirmed one of my main assumptions. So after this, I worked with my personas. So, for example, we have here Thalisa, a 32-year-old video producer from Brazil, that she really enjoys going to the cinema, particularly to small cinemas, because she likes to feel in a more intimate environment, but she admits that sometimes their web pages are not the best. And also Nico, a 28-year-old sound engineer from Argentina, that sees going to the cinema as a sort of ritual and tries to go as often as he can. But for him, it's very important that it's not so difficult to know what are his options, because otherwise he'll just stay home and watch Netflix. Yeah. After I finished my research process, I started the ideation part, asking myself, how might we create an efficient way for users to see movie listings they might be interested in, allow users to personalize their search, design a product that helps users to improve their experience when going to the cinema, and let users see movie listings and buy tickets in an efficient way. So here are my first sketches. This one on the right, it was sketches of how I wanted the filters to work, for example. And immediately after that, I started doing the low fidelity wireframes in Figma. so I can start having like early testing. And here's my mood board. My inspiration was the color palette of the remake of the movie Blade Runner. I wanted the webpage to be very clean, dominantly black and white because of all the movie images. I wanted them to stand out, but I also wanted maybe some details in maybe pastel colors. So yeah, I thought this palette was ideal for that. And here's my design system. I used Libre Franklin Bold and regular. Here's my color palette, icons, and buttons. And then after doing the testing with the high resolution prototype, high fidelity, sorry, I discovered some things that definitely could be improved from the feedback I got. And for example, the users didn't understand what some of the words I used for certain buttons meant. They wanted to know what the genre of the film was, and they didn't have that option at first. They wanted to see more available times than the ones showed. They weren't sure about what to do when they were supposed to pick the date, for example, and they also didn't know where the rankings were coming from. So I worked on this for my final prototype, and here are my wireframes. And now I'm going to go to my prototype. So let me know if you can see it.
Yes.
Okay, so this is Cine Agenda. I'm going to zoom in so we can see it more clearly. So yeah, let's say I'm Talisa, and a friend told me about this new webpage where all the cinemas I'm interested in going are there. So I have some options here, like latest films, festivals, and yeah, on the main menu I have films, festivals, cinemas, about. But right now what I'm interested in is to know more about the agenda. So I click on it. Then I will see that on the right I have all the information about the movies I can see today, with all the cinemas and the times, the original language and the subtitles, also the possibility to watch a trailer. And on the left I have the filter menu. So let's say I want to go to Boliche Cinemas because I really like to go there. So then the information on the right will be changing, and the used filters will be changing to at the top of everything. So let's say today is 14th of November, but I want to go on the 15th. So I select 15, and then again, everything will change. And I want to go in the evening because I work in the mornings. So I have all the available films here on the right, and the times of that, it's the precise cinema theater. So let's say I'm interested in watching Annette, but I want to know a little bit more about it. So I click on it. And then it'll take me to a page where I can see more information, like the synopses, the genres, also the rankings. I will know that it comes from IMDb, also the times on the right. And like, for example, if I can't find the time that I want, I can see more times in here in this small calendar. But let's say I want to go, like I said, to Cines Boliche on the 15th of November on the evening. So I will click here, and it'll take me to the cinema webpage so I could finally buy the tickets. So what are the next steps? Create the films and festivals sections in important flows related to them. Work on the personality of the site and writing so it feels more friendly. Keep working on the UI, trying different fonts and color palettes, and make the website responsive to mobile devices and an app. And that's it. Thank you. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Marianne. Great. it's totally true that here I always have an issue to book a ticket for the movie. Send me to another page. So amazing idea. I really like it. Well, presentation. Any questions, Susanna?
It's not a question, just a comment. Also, another great project, very well. I'm really happy that you guys are telling us like the process, the decisions, your findings super nicely and in a short time. So very proud of everybody. I do want to congratulate you because I remember you struggled a lot with your first insights, that you got a lot of insights about the physical spaces, the cinemas, and you were a little bit panicking, maybe not panicking, but
Yeah.
like, wow, what should I do? And I think you refine your problem very well, and you deliver a nice solution. And I think your next steps are also on spot. So congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you for the feedback.
You're welcome.
Here is a question on the chat from Katarina. It's for you. How did you get the color palette from that movie image?
Oh, there's an Instagram account that it's called palette.cinema, something like that. I can share it, and you can have the palettes of a lot of movies. So it's very nice.
You can also open the image on Photoshop and use the picker. Old school.
Yeah. I use it on Figma to know which colors are those.
Yeah, on Figma.
Nice. So thank you, Marianne.
Thank you.
Oh no more questions. So yeah, thank you so much. And the next one is going to be Lucy.
Yes, hi. I'm just going to share my screen. Okay, hopefully you can see this.
Yes, perfect.
Thank you. So hi everyone, my name is Lucy. I'm really looking forward to sharing my project with you today. Starting with the idea, I have always had an interest in art and was having conversations with friends who had previously felt that art as a subject wasn't for them. I was super interested in why they felt that way and how tech could be used to increase accessibility. Breaking down the problem, I tried to work out what it was that was inaccessible. My assumptions were based on a traditional gallery layout with artwork and text on the wall. So I assumed that people don't enjoy visiting exhibitions because curatorial information is hard to understand and takes a while to read. The resulting hypothesis was that making information more interactive for visitors at exhibitions will help them feel more engaged with the artwork and learn more. So I began the desk research. Looking at benchmarks, the most important thing to take away was the art guides that were already available on the market were either gallery owned, based around permanent collections, or location specific. So the research plan included one-to-one user interviews, an online survey, and I also needed an on-site observation to understand how users navigated through galleries. So this took place at the Tate Modern. After mapping out my assumptions, I was able to work out my goals for the research and interview questions, which could be grouped into the following categories: whether users enjoy visiting exhibitions, how they feel about curatorial information, whether they use tech already, how they navigate through the gallery, and how they usually like to learn. I used an Affinity Map to make sense of all the data and will highlight the main insights and learnings. Users make plans with friends at the weekend or spontaneously, so the solution needed to be quickly downloadable, have swift onboarding, and be enjoyable to use. 56% said there were elements they found frustrating. From this, I knew the solution needed to provide understandable information and help with crowding. Users proved that they had in fact had engaging experiences at galleries as well, so so these were different to the traditional wall on art layout that I had originally assumed. So based on categoristics that they liked, my assumption needed to have a less formal tone, show variety, be interactive, and have clear themes. During the context interview at the Tate, the user would look at the artwork, then read the text, then look again. They said that this was because they like to make their own interpretation first and then look again with a new perspective. So I wanted to include artwork previews to enable this. I would also need to include options for shorter and longer texts. And the most popular topics that users wanted to learn about were inspiration, impact, message, history, about the artist, and the process, which would form the basis for the filters on the app. 76% said they would be willing to download an app before visiting, so I can make the app downloadable via a ticket or at a gallery. Audio or tech or other tech would need to support social interactions, because 2 users said that they, even though there was an audio guide available, they didn't necessarily use it so that they could talk with friends. Flows also needed to be short so the user can be present, not glued to their screen. At the Tate Modern, neither of us actually noticed that there was an audio guide and QR codes available until I actually emailed them afterwards to ask, because I wasn't sure. However, from this visit, I was able to understand the current user journey, which was really helpful. Users would benefit from help finding the exhibition entrance, images to make sure users know what text goes with what artworks, identifiers of which rooms are busy to help avoid crowding, and information in chronological order. The 4 learning styles were reading, listening, watching, and doing, which then formed the basis of my user personas. I had more detail in the personas originally, but was finding it was quite confusing, the flow. So after some really good feedback, it really helped to simplify these and focus on what were the clear differentiators. And these personas became the basis for the app's different formats of information. Out of all the how might we statements, the challenge I decided to focus on was how to give visitors information according to their interests and in their preferred format to help them understand the art and make their own interpretation. And then that's when the fun part began. Starting with loads of sketches and a very basic first user flow and sitemap, I decided that to bring value, the app needed to be downloadable via tickets and available in multiple countries. There's going to be an independent art guide which allows users to choose how much information and whether they read, watch, or listen. Users could interact with the artworks and input their interests to customize their visit. From the first testing of wireframes, I learned quickly that having the customization at the start of the flow was not going to be practical for users just arriving at the exhibition. So I needed to integrate this into the experience as much as possible. And with further testing, I was focusing on increasing accessibility with text size and making listen and watch features more prominent. I also needed to close my flow and was given a really great suggestion to add an invite friend feature, as well as encouraging further visits through rewards. And the UX writing was confusing some users as well, so I also reconsidered how to phrase some CTAs. And I was then ready to move on to UI. Others in the industry all had simple layouts with lots of white space and maybe one primary color. So I was inspired by the idea that this app was helping users enter the art world in neon signs. Purple was bright but still passed accessibility tests when on white backgrounds. I created the design system defining type, color styles, icons, and interactions. Testing was done with A and B versions of the interest filter. So version A allowed users to filter information about the artwork so that they could skip to the topics they were interested in. And version B had the filter right at the start of the guide so users could get recommendations of rooms to visit. There was a lot of feedback to come from this, but the main point was that B was successful as users like to be presented with the feature right at the start. Trial run-throughs also really helped to understand the flow I needed to reveal information. So I was treating my living room as a makeshift gallery to test myself and with my partner. Some of the main next steps I want to add are the onboarding flow for galleries. So also how to instruct, or I guess guide them on how to write copy so that it is understandable for users. More languages, and identify potential gallery partners to interview to start the industry flows. So now for the demo. For this, I'd like to ask you to imagine that you purchased a ticket from the Tate Modern, and after receiving a booking confirmation email asking you to download the Art Guide app, you now have this downloaded on your phone and have just arrived at the gallery. So I'm just going to change screens and hopefully you can see this. Can you see that? Is that okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Cool, thank you. So there is a login screen to this. So it will locate you and wherever based on your location. If you have a booking for the Tate Modern, which in this case you do, it will show you on your home screen. Otherwise, it will show you relevant information about other exhibitions going on based on your interests that you've inputted. So there is a little bit of wayfinding information in case you're having difficulty finding the entrance. But in this case, we're going to scan the ticket. And once the gallery attendant has scanned it, or it's done by a ticket scanning barrier or something like that, you get a message saying that you've successfully scanned your ticket and that you've earned 1 token. And once you get to 8 tokens, you can get a free ticket, and you can access that by your dashboard later. So then you start your guide. And the secondary navigation is either read or listen for pretty much all the information. So you can either choose to read about the introduction to the exhibition, or you can listen about it, and it will just give you a little message to put in your headphones. So you can read, and there are 12 rooms in this exhibition. Each room will tell you how long it takes and how busy it is. And the live map will show you where you are in the space to help you get your bearings. So you can either choose to show the nearest artworks, which goes straight to the art information, or you can decide to choose your interests. So in this case, I'm going to choose making process, and it will recommend three rooms for me to see. So if I click on the first room, again, I can read or listen. I can choose to read more if I want, rather than just a bite-sized bit of information. And then it will show me the artworks in that room. So that's how many people have liked the artwork so far and how many people have commented it. Or I can change my settings, so I can increase the text size, and I can go to night mode if I want to. So I'm going to go on artwork 1. So I've already had a preview to it, but now I want to read the information about it. So once I've read that, I can like it, I can comment on it and see other people's comments, and I can save it for later and come back to it after I've gone home. So I'm going to watch something about it as well, because I'm bored of reading now. So I just want to see the video come up and tell me information. So now I'm done in this case. I'm not going to go to the rest of the exhibition. Exit guide, and it will tell me, yes, I want to leave my exhibition. So now it's giving me the option to invite a friend. It would tell me that I've earned tokens again, just to remind me, and I can come back to that later. So I'm going to choose to go to saved, and I can visit that later, and it will also tell me other exhibitions that I've saved. So my tokens are here, so that will tell me like other exhibition data that might be interesting to me. And also I can, in future, if I have other bookings, I can go to future exhibitions and get my tickets from there. And that's it. So yeah, I just wanted to say thank you so much to the allWomen instructors and my classmates for all the amazing support, and to everyone that let me interview them as well. And to my partner and my dog for getting me through the last 3 months of working from home and doing the course. But it's been so worth it. So thank you very much for your time.
Wow, I love it. I really love this idea, Lucy. Amazing. Thank you for showing your process. It's all consistent. It's super easy to follow and useful app, and the clean design. I love it. Congrats.
Thank you.
So, Ligia?
Hi, Lucy. Well done. It looks really, really good. I really like that you added some gamification aspects to it as well, so it makes like fun, and also the design looks super slick. So congratulations.
Thank you so much for all your help. Gave me a lot of great feedback.
Thank you. Laura?
Yes. Yeah, and indeed, I really love the design as well. It's I love the minimal look and how cool it is. And it feels like it really democratized, or how do you say that? Like going to a museum, I think, for non-art lovers, and it would, I think, it would really like, you know, motivate people who usually don't go. And I'm wondering if there's an opportunity there as well. But of course, this is not research driven, but just like a potential solution. But like to give more peer-to-peer kind of feedback on the paintings or on the artworks that people see, because as it's sometimes hard to understand what something means, maybe it's easier to read like, you know, what someone else has summarizes it for himself, or like also when you know you're going somewhere and then you advise your friend to go to the same exhibition, maybe you can like point out what to go to, or this kind of, I don't know, interaction between users to somehow, I don't know, like make it even easier to walk through the exhibition in some way. Yeah.
I love that idea. Sounds great. Yeah, I think the comment section was it right at the start. It came up as like maybe take it out, and I did really think about taking it out. But I think there's maybe some more development that I need to do about like you say, conversations with people, just to get that started.
Yeah, because of course there's also a risk with letting people comment, because then like you can easily adopt the opinion of someone else, right? And maybe artists want to avoid that, but like I know there's some way to make it easy, or to be more engaged. But yeah, super cool, really good work.
Thank you, Laura. So congrats, Lucy, amazing. I hope to see all those iteration and next steps.
Definitely.
Next one. Next one is gonna be Ella.
Yes, that's me. Let me quickly present my screen. Do you see my screen?
Yes, perfect.
Okay, perfect. So hi there. Hello to everyone. Welcome to my presentation. Let me quickly introduce myself for the ones who don't know me yet. My name is Ella, and I'll start with a current fact that I'm dealing with right now is a fun fact. And I think my fellow students can all agree with, is that I'm currently very passionate about the fascinating world of UI and UX creation. Basically, you feel like a kid in the candy store. So welcome to SEVA. So you might ask yourself, what is SEVA? What does this have to do with UI UX? Well, SEVA, as also transcribed as Sewa in Hinduism and Sikhism, is a selfless service that can be performed to benefit other human beings or society. So with this in mind, and with my project, I'll tell you a little bit more about that, because you're probably also wondering, what does this have to do with an app, right? So I thought this name could be very suiting for my project, because it all started back in Amsterdam, where for the span of 9 years, I have been actively engaged with volunteer work. I started with bigger NGOs such as Amnesty International, and later moved on to more grassroots organizations, helping out where I can in soup kitchens and the likes. However, as soon as I moved to Barcelona about 6 months ago, I found myself in a bit of a pickle. Freshly arrived to the city of Barcelona, I started looking for ways I can do social work and contribute to the city as a person, as well with past volunteer experience and also with time on my hands. In the midst of looking for jobs, I decided to scour the internet for volunteer opportunities. However, I quickly found myself a bit lost in all the different opportunities that were presented in Reddit forums, in Facebook groups, without actually finding what I was looking for. I was looking for a platform that was not only serving for example, in the language of Catalan or Spanish, but can also be used by expats, with someone who maybe doesn't understand the language. So with this in mind, I came to the following, definitely the following hypothesis, which was, and as you can see already, this was way too much. Too many words, too many wordings here. So we believe that providing a collaborative space that gathers all the volunteer opportunities in the city of Barcelona for volunteer curious people will encourage more interest in social work, provide better insights into various volunteering options in the city, improve the engagement with the volunteering community, and ultimately create unique moments to connect with the ones that need our help the most. So what I did here was I tried to combine all my 5 whys together. Definitely not the best idea I had, because this was almost impossible to fulfill and come to a certain solution with it. However, I kept on researching and working, and I came to the following assumptions, which were also in the beginning way too broad, because they were also just ideas that I had about my own volunteer experience without actually thinking, hey, what is someone nowadays looking for? Someone who's actually volunteer curious and doesn't have much of experience. So with this in mind, I also developed and turned them into learning objectives, and then kept on researching, developed and worked on my desk research, did some surveys and interviews. Research was definitely a big part of my project and something that I really enjoyed. In the desk research, like I said before, I found several platforms, but they were not very expat friendly, let's just call it that. And I also found like a bit of a scatter of information. Then the surveys, I think in the end, I had about 35 survey respondents, which I was very happy with because volunteering sometimes can be a very niche topic. So I was very happy with those 35s. And interviews, I did 4 interviews. One was with an expat. One was with a local, because I thought that it's also interesting to obviously be very inclusive and not exclude local people from here. So I did an interview with a local as well, and the other person was someone who had a lot of volunteer experience, and the 4th person was someone who was running an NGO. So it was really nice to get all of these different insights, and it really helped me a lot in gathering all this kind of information. Regarding the survey, there were some interesting findings. I think one of the things that I found very interesting was that a lot of people hear about volunteer opportunities by word of mouth. I remember like one user also explaining that, yeah, like I'm always up for volunteering, but if a friend tells me, hey, want to go volunteering, wanted to do this gathering next month, I'm up for it. So it usually happens word of mouth. And the second one was Facebook, which didn't come as a surprise to me. Another interesting finding I found was that volunteer curious people also want to make friends with other volunteers, and they also want to be part of our organization. And of course, they want to engage with the local community that needs help, which was, I think, very obvious. Some beautiful quote that I found when I asked people why they want to volunteer or what the reason is for volunteering. I found these very heartwarming. People were saying like, it gives me a warm, fuzzy feeling. I would like to create sustainable communities. It fills my heart and soul. And it gives meaning to my life, especially when I don't have a solid social community group around me in the place where I'm living. I like to feel useful to the world. So I thought these were very interesting quotes that people were being very honest, and providing them with a space in the survey to just fill out their thoughts, I thought was very valuable to really understand my users a little bit better. Then after this came the fun part of creating the affinity map and gathering all the data together. Something that again came again and again was the lack of time was something that was very prevalent. So people really want to volunteer, they are curious, but they don't have the time, or they want more flexible options. So with this in mind, I created 3 personas, but I'm going to present just one here because I think this also, even though it's a man, and a lot of my findings were, like a lot of my respondents were also women, but keeping in mind the people that I interviewed, I developed also this persona. So Bobby, the expat, is 25 years old. He has past volunteer experiences. He works in a demanding environment, is tech savvy, and more than anything, flexibility is something that's very important to him. Also, like a lot of millennials, he is concerned about the state of the environment, which is something that he would like to help around with. And since he is also fairly new to the city, he would like to get to know the city a little bit better while also doing volunteer work. And because of what the findings were, he usually hears about volunteer opportunities by word of mouth. So based on all of this, I created a lot of insights, which I now try to, I think the 3 most important insights that came was that, 1, and you can guess it, flexibility is definitely key. A lot of people don't have a lot of time. They do want to volunteer, but they want more flexible options. They don't want necessarily commitment. Then the second thing was that volunteer gathering should be, or preferably would be nice to be close to their home or to their work. Again, has to do with the time. And they also want to be part and feel part of a community. I think like community creation was something that also came from my surveys and interviews. So with all of this in mind, I had to redefine the hypothesis. And I think for this, since the lack of time, I'll just read over the last part. So what I changed was that will provide flexible volunteer options. So flexibility is included. provide better insights into various volunteering options in the city, and improve the engagement with the volunteering community. So with all of this in mind, I moved on to ideation and sketching. So I started doing How Might We's, and then, of course, moved on to the sketching. As you can see, I'm not very good at sketching. As Katarina, this is definitely not my strongest point, but, you know, I tried. Then I moved on some naked wireframes, which I also didn't really know what I was doing with the wireframes. I had in the beginning like an idea in my head, and I just couldn't get it on paper, or I couldn't get it into Figma as how I wanted it to be. So I felt a bit lost, but with the help of TAs, you guys, my fellow students and teachers, I started to gather ideas. Then, of course, colors, which I always was very much a fan of. I decided to use like some soft colors to give that feeling of some wholesome goodness. So keeping in mind all the quotes and just trying to create a sort of a feeling of wellness, but also with softer palettes to not like be to be as well a bit transparent. The fonts I chose was Poppins combined with Clara and Montserrat, and I'll also use some soft buttons there. And then I started some testing, which gave me, of course, super valuable insight, because I tested with 2 users, and comments that users had were very important. So comments like, Ella, how can I go back? Like, where's the button to go back? Why does this feel almost like a Tinder? Aesthetics, not so good. Why does it look so serious? Other comments that I had were, what is the purpose of this map? Why does scrolling feel so clunky? Ella, I can't go back. Like, that was the main thing. And overload of information that I will probably not read. So with this in mind, we can see now what's cooking. Can you see this?
Yes.
Okay, perfect, thank you. So what's cooking? This baby Seva, we have to keep in mind that we have a user that is volunteer curious, kind of like mirroring Bobby, the persona they created, and he wants to find volunteer opportunities in Barcelona and is specifically looking for ways to do something with the environment. He doesn't have a lot of time and is looking for something flexible and wants to meet new people as well. So with this in mind, I created this platform. One note about this, based on my findings from the surveys and interviews, I found that a lot of people feel a bit uncomfortable downloading an app right away. So that is something that I asked in my interviews and my surveys. So I decided to create a mobile-friendly solution, because obviously a lot of people use their phones. That's also what came from my survey. So with that in mind, I created this. So you come here at the landing page. The user might be interested to scroll a little bit and just see what is happening. Like, what is Seva exactly? I see there's some upcoming gatherings, so these must be things that are current. Then I scroll down. There are different options. You can find your next event. You can find local nonprofits. You can track your progress as volunteer and member of Seva. You can also volunteer with friends. Then you go down and you have the option to meet some local volunteers. So there's Mila, there's Sam, there's probably other people as well, but I may be interested to meet Mila. Let's see what she's all about. So then we come to this page in which you can read a little bit of information about Mila's volunteer experiences and what she likes to do, and you can get in touch. Okay, I don't really want to get in touch because I don't know Mila. I'm just a bit curious right now, right? So I decide to go up, and I see a hamburger menu here. Probably the user doesn't really know that the menu is called a hamburger menu, but decides to click because it's intuitive. Then we come to what do we do? Join us, about us, contact. And since I'm looking for volunteer options right now, I think I'm more piqued to go to Volunteer Hub. So I'll click on that. We come to a page where we see, well, I can scroll down and see different opportunities, different gatherings that are taking place. I can also see that these are things that are definitely happening in the summer and not in the cold and dead of winter that we're having right now in Barcelona. So I'm definitely curious and interest is piqued. So then I go down, I decide to, well, I actually want to find something. Since I'm looking for a flexible option, maybe it's good to just look at the map and see if there's an opportunity close to my house. Since I live close to Raval, in Barcelona, I decide to maybe look a little bit more down towards the ocean, keeping in mind as well that I'm looking for something that has to do with the environment. I click on the first one here because that's close to my home, but this is about giving food and clothing to the homeless on the streets of Barcelona. Might be something for next time. So I click on this one. There's Mundo Limpio. We are dedicated to reducing plastic via beach and street cleanups, and we meet up once a week on the weekends. That seems more interesting, but I also want to look at and see if there are more options. So I decide to close the map. And with the back of my head that Mundo Limpio definitely caters to the needs that I'm looking for, I decide to learn more. But then I also see like there's a cost and duration button. So I might want to have an idea on that. Okay, and there's duration. All right, that might be interesting to me. So with this in mind, I already know that Mundo Limpio probably has to do with the environment. So I'll just click here. We are directed to this page where you get a little bit more information on the organization, also when they meet up, like on what part of the day of the week. It's either Saturday or Sunday. And you see that the next gathering will be on Barceloneta Beach, which is not so far from my house, at 10:30 a.m. I might be interested. So I think I would really want to do this. So I want to help. Then you come to a screen where, well, the user intuitively knows that where he wants to sign up. For this purpose, he doesn't really want to sign up with all these other platforms. So he decides to sign up with email. We only have these few details to ask of you. Also very intuitive to the user. Signing up, you agree to service terms and conditions. And I'm ready to get rocking. Then you come to this page in which you are ready to take some action. And you can also see Max, who is your host for the event. You can add to your calendar and you can see the confirmation. So definitely you will also get a confirmation via email as well about this. Good, so that's a little bit about that. Then, of course, learnings, because there's always stuff to learn, and I definitely learned a whole lot by doing this. I think the most part is that I don't need to make the scope of the project in my head was too big, and I think that if you simplify, we can get to definitely like a better, in the end, like come to maybe a better findings. Test with more users. Since I only tested my prototype with 2 users, I think it really helps to test with more to find the icks and quirks and what can be improved. Create more flows and interactions within the various sections of the platform, such as meeting other volunteers, but there's a lot more to do. Like, for example, linking all the hamburger menus and having an About Me page. I would love to do that even after the demo day. Keep working on the aesthetics and UI. I think for me, that was someone who has no experience doing anything in the UI field. This was completely new to me, and Figma took a while to like properly figure out, but I really enjoyed doing it. So it's definitely something that I'm going to keep on working on. And then obviously also check how this platform can be beneficial to NGOs. And lastly, I want to thank you all so much for all your help, to the TAs, to the mentors, definitely to the teachers that spent a lot of hours with me when I was feeling quite low, and also my fellow students for all the support. It's been quite a journey, and I can't believe that we're now coming to an end. I'm almost getting a bit teary just thinking about it, but it's been really great, and I just want to thank you all. Thank you for everything.
Bravo, Ella. Impressive. I love it. I can not agree more with all the comments you have in the chat. Like, amazing storytelling. I love that you show all your process and what you were super honest with what you struggle with. And all the app, that is amazing. The UI, it's clean design, the white space. Amazing job. I really love it.
Thank you so much.
Questions, feedback, comments? More than you have on the chat. You should take a time for it. Not? We're gonna go next with Andrea.
Hi, everyone. Well, I'm going to start sharing. Let me know if you see my screen.
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Awesome. Go for it.
Well, first of all, welcome all and thanks to be here with us. I'm Andrea, and I'm going to start showing you and telling you all my journey about this project. So I came with this problem that is for those women who wish to redefine or find their fashion style to make them feel secure and confident in what they are wearing. So I do the 5 whys, and I had a root cause that would lead me to my hypothesis that would be we believe that offering away options support tool that contains the knowledge in fashion would help those women who want to get a personalized advice on which fashion style would suit them best to make them feel secure and confident with themselves. So about that, I just add here the first and assumptions that I got. It's only 2. I had more, but I'm going to put the most important ones. That is, some women do not know how to combine clothing styles and which colors would look better for them. The other one is they feel insecure about how clothing will fit on their bodies. For that, I came with learning goals that will be understand why women feel insecure about how the clothes will look good and fit on them, and discover how much knowledge women have about different types of clothing, styles, and combination colors. So I started to create the survey and the interviews. For the interviews, I interview for women, and for the survey, I just launched it, and 50 women participate on it. For my survey results, I had the most important insights that will be that 30% of women are interested in fashion but not feel passionate about it. The 82% know there are different fashion styles. 81% will be interested in get personalized advice to help them to redefine their fashion style, and 66% will be willing to pay for it. So I had these big insights regarding my survey. So when some women feel interested in receiving advice on which clothes will suit them according to their fashion style. When shopping online, some women feel expectations that the clothes are not going to fit and create frustration for them. And the other one was after getting a new job, some women decide to buy new clothes to have more clothing options to wear at work. But also I find some key findings that I get from the interviews mostly. There are some of this. Some women buy to hide part of their body and they feel insecure about. Some women prefer to shop on sales. Other women are influenced by their moods when they're shopping. After the COVID situation, women get used to buy online. They no longer feel comfortable in enclosed spaces. And many women prefer to try on clothes at home rather than in stores. So I came with how might we to create a tool for women to find their fashion style. How might we make users feel confident that clothing option they like will fit their bodies? And how might we make users spend less time looking at the different options and secure the purchase? I start the ideation part and doing some sketch and my user flow by doing a sketch. Then I create the mood board that I wanted to be a little very minimalist and fresh, because in my edition I'm going to show a lot of pictures, so I just want to make the pictures just the most important thing, and I want to make the colors very minimalistic, but also I wanted to be very friendly. That's why I add some pink colors in this mood board. This is my design system. I just had the port feed adjust, This is my logo, the color, the buttons, and the icons. So this is my low fidelity wireframes that I started to work with. And for my user testing, I just get some important feedback that is reducing text content, create some interactions, adjust elements, and make buttons more visible. So I'm going to start to share my prototype. Let me know if you can see the screen.
Yes.
Thank you. So this is the splash screen. As you may see, this is the logo, and my FF means my fashionista friend. So here you will see the login page, and you can enter your email address, your password. If you don't have it, are you new here? You can sign up here then down. But I'm going to log in with my Apple ID. So the Apple is requesting your Apple ID, then you go in, and this is the main page. So this is the line that is welcome Andrea, and you can here see the service that I got that are the most important services that I'm going to offer in this app. And Discover Your Style is regarding the fashion consulting. This is for people that want to know which is their fashion style. For the second one, you can drag and you can see the Boost Your Style. Boost Your Style is for those people that know which is their fashion style, but they want a service like a personal shopper to help them buy clothes. And the other service that I created is to get your FF. Your FF is going to be your friend, your fashionista friend. You can get subscription online, and if you had some time, you had an event like a wedding, you can get on chat this professional to help you with and find you the perfect look for that date. So let's start with discovering your style. And here you can see that it's a fashion consulting. Here there is a little description about it and what you need to do. So you will find that you need to book some sessions. Then here you will have the 30-minute session and what it includes the 30-minute session. Here you will see the price and you will have the button to add to back. So let's add to back to this 60-minute session. And here you will see the 60-minute session for fashion consulting is added to the back. Then you can click and book and buy because this is going to be a video call. Then you will see this screen that you can select the date first. So we just select the date and go next. Then the time, let's select the time. And here you can see in your back that you have the fashion consulting, the video call, the date, the hour, and then you have to confirm to pay. So then you go to payment process. If you have any discount code, you can add it here. And I will decide to pay with code with Apple Pay. And then your payment is successfully complete. If you want to keep shopping, you can go back and then go to your main page. So I found the next step for me are going to be work on the flows and different services because I just work on the flow for the first service, so I can show you, but I'm going to work for the other ones. Add testimonials so the user can see the experience of other people. Add the personal shopper's profile so the user can see the profiles and the style of the personal shoppers, and add the option of subscribing to get the FF service. So thank you all for listening. Thank you mostly for the mentors for being very, very patient with us in all these projects and all the students that I work with. Thank you very much.
Bravo, Andrea. Amazing. I really need my fashion friend.
Yeah, I also want to.
I need it. And more than that, that they can go to buy all my clothes and to laminate and everything. I don't want to do nothing. Nice. Any question or feedback, comment for Andrea? You can read it on the chat. You have amazing
Thank you, girls.
comments there. Nice. So let's go next with Einstein. Sorry, is I pronounce
I'm Tani. No problem. It all happens. So yeah, let me share. No. Wait, please. Yeah, sorry, I can share on this computer. I don't know why. I'm going to change.
No worries. If you want, we can go with Danielle and then you go next.
Okay, yeah. No,
Perfect.
no problem.
So, Danielle? I cannot hear you well, Danielle. I can. Okay, so Clara?
Yeah, I can go.
Go for it.
I'm going to share my screen. Oh my God, I have the same problem.
So Ella is...
Yeah, try just sharing your tab. I think I hear the familiar sound of Apple trying to block.
No. Clara, here it is. Sign again. Awesome.
Yeah, I think I can, yeah, I change. Okay, so do you see my screen?
Yes, perfect.
Yeah, okay. So my name is Clara. I came from the product design, like industrial design. And I've been working in the UX UI world since like for 2 or 3 months. So that's why I joined this bootcamp, because I want to learn more about, I want to improve more my skills. So first of all, how it all started. I'm a very curious and conscious person, and I always love to debate with my friends and colleagues about some items. So few months ago, I was talking with them about the fashion industry. And for example, Sarah and Farhan told me that they shop once a week or they putting price first. So for me, it was rare because I am a very conscious person. So at the end, I was thinking about that, and I realized that the root cause was that consumers still don't get the right information from brands to be able to make their own decisions and to buy more consciously. So I was asking myself, why was that happening, and what could I do to help them to shop more consciously? So my starting point was to interview like 8 people, and then doing a public survey in a fashion industry blog in Facebook, to understand the relationship between the consumers and the brands. If brands, like if these consumers distrust brands, and if there are some needs that are not solved, and maybe because this if they have this data, if they trust this data or they think that it was greenwashing. So at the end, I had these 4 key insights that were mostly in common around all these interviews and the survey that I did. But most like accessibility, comfort, price, and education. But mostly they were talking about price, always price. Like, for example, it's very expensive to buy sustainable clothes. I only buy sustainable brands when my budget allows me to. Or for a basic t-shirt, I always prioritize price. So the heart of the matter is like, I was concerned about what can I do to make consumers understand the real value of this garment pricing, because their needs were that they want to gain like awareness and knowledge, because I think that education is a very basic for people's understanding of information. They want to have like very comprehensible and understandable vocabulary, because sustainability is very complex, and they want to access to this information without resources and without time. So I created this conscious search at point of sale to create awareness of the real price of the product in the fashion industry. So here it is. It's basically a touch screen when you can scan your barcode with a smart technology called RFID. And you can see this full screen when you have a breakdown of 4 aspects, like raw material, manufacture, transport, and brand. And if you want to gain more information about each of these items, you can check. Maybe here, for example, there's an interactive map when you can see the manufacturers, the testimonials, and also the environmental impact. And then when you gather all this information and you want to buy more consciously, you can buy it, or you can share it with the friends, this information, or you can spread this conscious to the world. But let's rewind. How did I get here? I get here because, first of all, I did some sketches. My design was in point of sale because 33% of my interviewers still buy in a physical shop, and 53 in both. So first of all, I did a research of all the user buying journey, and what specific they need in every step, focusing also in the first step that was the awareness part. Then I created my mood board with earthy and sustainable colors, also with big typography, big images and big icons to catch up all this attention from the consumer. And then I did a very quick usability test about which are the main points that users can click on it, about like the height, and also about the technology that it's called RFID, that it's a connection that it's pasted on the barcode when you can scan and give all the information through this screen. Also, I did a very easy flow with all the interaction based also through the journey that I told you about, like from how it works, then the 4 main items to consider, because users told me about like they want talking about raw material, manufacture, transport, and brand, and then adding to the purchase part. And I think that this was the most difficult part for me, because one or 2 weeks ago I changed completely my design my design project, because I saw from the first version, like the version A of the testing, that my first design was it has a very confusing flow, very lack of content, and the space was not maximized. So at the end, I did this prototype with largest images and icons, a very structured flow and content, and adding also subtitles and hierarchy of information. So here it is, my final prototype. And next steps for me will be to reach more people. So I'm doing this right now in point of sale, but I will, in the future, I will decide to do this as an app, or maybe adding this information in the product sheet. And also I want to improve more about the content that I'm showing right now to here, because I think that giving more honesty and transparent information to the consumers in the fashion industry, they will gather more awareness and knowledge. So yeah, here it is. And thank you so much.
Wow, I love it, Clara. Amazing. Impressive. I really love it. The storytelling and how you put all your words and showing your process. Wow, I love it. I hope to see all those iterations. So you can also see on the chat all the comments. I love it. These are being the most dynamic demo so far. Any feedback or comments from the audience? Well, you have it in the chat. That's nice. So you can just make a screenshot or take a look at that. So now I believe I'd say.
Yeah, let me try it. I will double. So if I can share from this computer. Yes. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes, perfect.
Okay. Hi, I am Sally. I'm going to share you my project from this course. It's called Farming Friends. And how this project started. This project started because with my own experience in online gaming, and it's about the online toxicity games community. So when you play this kind of game that is specifically strategy games, like MOBA games, or MOBA multiplayer battle arenas, this kind of games, you play it into teams. And for winning these matches, you have to have like a good communication with your team, like getting along and deciding roles, deciding items, deciding a lot of stuff. And with a good strategy, you can win. Even though if you're not a pro player, you're playing to win. So this is really important in the communication in the game to make a nice environment and to have a good match. So it happens a lot when you're playing with strangers, that you can receive a lot of misogynist, sexist, body shaming comments when you're a woman. It doesn't matter if you win and you lose. Sometimes the comments just happens. So after that, I had this idea and this experience. I started to do some first validations with some girlfriends that are also gamers. And they told me, yeah, that also happens to me. It's not all the time, but it's really recurrent. So I started looking online and I find like a lot of information about this topic in the big companies that are in games like Steam or EA. So I said, yeah, it's a real problem. It's not something that it happens to me and just my friends. And in this point, I talked to other friends that are males, that they told me, hey, yeah, it's okay that you find these kind of comments because you're a woman, but we also suffer mean comments. It can be just mean, racist, body shaming, homophobic comments. So that was the point that I like opened my project to all genders, to say it. And I didn't focus the project on the gender, it's just the community. So My hypothesis was we believe that creating a community where people can find teammates that share their type of gameplay, roles, gaming objectives, have affinity, and speak the same language for online strategic players will achieve a more comfortable, safe, respectful, enjoyable online game experience. So, in this part of the research, these were my research objectives. Why do people send in comments? Do people play with strangers? Because it happens to me, but I wanted to know if more people have this issue. How comments affect players? The mean comments make the players stop playing online games. How can players avoid the toxicity? Do players have a place online to find teammates? So, in my research, I did 5 interviews and surveys. After I did my first interview, I finished my questions for the surveys. And for me, these were the most relevant answers that I've got. I don't have it here, but I have like 80% of the people that play online games play 3 to 4 times a week. So it's a lot of time invested in the game. So this is the time that I questioned my how do you feel general in the gaming community indifferent and you spend like a lot of time in this community? It's because the community is not good. So the other thing that shocked me the most, it was the question about, have you ever made a mean comment? And 59% of the people said yes. I didn't expect that. And then that I did my surveys and my interviews, my method was an affinity map. So I saw that the problem is when you play with strangers. So people that answered me that the interactions with the strangers was a lot of toxic, a lot of racism, tension. You can talk about anything more about the game that people really like. I found out that people really like to speak to different stuff in the game that doesn't have to be in the match, and a lot of sexist, misogynist comments. Some actions that people took about these interactions was stop playing the game, change their identity, silence their mic, silence the other player. And this is no good because you need to talk to other players to have like a really good match. And the other important thing, it was the tools to communicate were WhatsApp, few people, but everyone else is Discord. So it's like this is the only app that they use to communicate. So my insights were, when online gaming, women hide their identity because they're avoiding misogynist, sexist, and harassment. People enjoy more the game and feel safer if they know their teammates. People have a hard time finding friends that like the same game or have the same type of gameplay. People like to talk about other themes while playing. Even though the games make matchmaking ranking system, they feel that the game paired them with the wrong skilled people. The most used platform to talk while gaming is Discord, and that people sometimes is just me. So after that, I have all this information. I started to doing some sketches, and then I started doing my first wireframes on Figma. These were like my first flow, and it's like a social media app. You have groups, and these groups were played by type of gameplays, the game, the region. If you're in Europe, is Europe or West, language. You can find these groups, you can filter them, and you can see the user's profile, and you can recommend it or you can report them. So I did my first testing with this flow, and it was okay that the people told me, yeah, it was okay to find people. But after that, I found these people, I'm going to add them on Discord, and I'm going to call them there, and I'm not going back to the app to recommend or to report them. So this was the point that changed my direction with the app. some inspiration was like this kind of MOBA games, or League of Legends or Dota, online sets. And with this, I defined my design system. I went with my typography, that is Montserrat, and some CDAs, buttons and tags are Poppins. My icons library, it was a gaming icon that I found on Figma. I have some tags and some buttons. And I chose this color palette because if you think of gaming, if you search online on gaming, you're going to see like a lot of neons, a lot of purples, blues, and pinks. So now I'm going to change to my prototype. Okay, do you see it?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to do the flow like an already registered person that has used the app several times. So when you open the app, you're in the cruise section that you can see down here, like a little purple sword, and you see the cruise. The cruise are defined by name, a type of game, in this case is desktop. These are cruise from Dota 2, this is the game, and other tag like ECU, that is region, and chilling, that is a type of gameplay. And you can go down, you can see more cruise. Here you can add more, you can filter them, or you can search by name. So here I have like a quick filter that shows you your preferred games. So now I'm going to say that, yeah, I want to play Dota. So now here, oh, this is this group. I'm going to view the crew. So go to the page, I can see a little more information about the crew, some descriptions, and some members. And in the members, I see this there are health points, and it has 44 recommends. The second one it has minus health points and not so much recommends, and the last one doesn't have a good profile. So here I can go to this person profile if I want to know more information, some description that the person gives, and crews that I'm part of. I can see that this person really likes Dota. So in the user's profile, I can add them as a teammate, or I have this menu that I can block them or report the user. I can go to the report page and to create a report, but now I'm not going to create a report because I don't know this person. So I'm going back and I'm going to join this crew. When I join the crew, it's like a little chat that you see the people talking, you can give some reactions. And this is where I added the part that the people told me that they wouldn't go back to do recommendations or report them. So I'm going to create a call. I click this button and here I see create your service. So now I can invite some teammates, I can search them. In the first options, I can see the people that are in the same crew. It's like a shortcut because you can create this server from the outside of the app, but inside of the cruise chat, you can do it and you have this option to choose the people that in this group easily. So now I'm going to add them. I'm going to add these people that is online, invite them. So I can upload a photo, put the name of the server, and now I have here the teammates that I invited. I can delete them or I add more. I'm going on. So now I'm in the voice channel. Now the people can talk. The people that accepted the invite, you can mute them. You can put a little text in case you have to share something while you're gaming. You can mute yourself, mute the sound, and you can go back to the app without closing it. So if I click there, I can go back, and this banner is always on the top of the app that you remind that you are in this call. So if you click it, you go back. And this was the part that that struggle the most, that like how to make people do the recommends. So I study a little more about some, like I think Zoom, Discord, I think Slack does it, that when you end the call, you have like, hey, how was the call? Give your opinion. So that was my inspiration. So when I end the call, I get these screens that, hey, you just finish your party on the name of the server that you created, and swipe right to recommend or left to skip the player. So you can swipe it. I'm going to skip the recommend, and this was the last person that it was in the call, and this is thank you for your time, and you can go back, and you'll go back to the group. So I had other flows designed. This is one, the other data flows that I designed, but I didn't have time to present it. And I think that it was more interesting, the part of the calling and the recommend, that like creating your profile. And for me, the next steps will be design the meetup section, design the several filters that the app have, and the flows. And I want to create some feature that especially help women feel safer and increase the quantity of women playing online games. So, yeah.
Wow, amazing. Super interesting project. Wow. Again, I'm not a gamer, but I'm pretty sure this happened a lot, even for, this kind of apps as well for dating. I'm pretty sure this also happened, and to find a solution on that sector as a gamer, it's just impressive. I love it.
Thank
Super
you.
interesting. So I believe you have a lot of comments on the chat. I don't know if someone would like to ask a question or have any doubt. If not, we can go with Danielle.
Yeah, can everybody hear me okay now?
Yes,
Okay,
perfect.
cool.
There you
All right.
go.
I'm gonna share my screen. Okay. Maybe. Okay. Okay. Can everybody see everything okay?
Yes, go for
Okay.
it.
So, hi everyone. Thank you for being here. My name is Danielle, and I'm going to talk about my project called TrueView. These are some of the things that I'm going to be talking about throughout my presentation. So, how I came to my project was that, like, it's very personal to me. Um, like being a curvy woman, it's really difficult to find like clothing. And also there are so many labels and like ideas of what curvy should look like. It's very difficult. Once you're past a certain size, like there's not really a lot of options for you clothing wise. So the problem that I came up with after all of that was, why is it so difficult for curvy women to shop online? Um, for me, I know that part of the problem was also that, like, for curvy, people think there's one type of body. Like this picture here, people usually think that's what curvy is, but it's not like that. There's so many different forms. Okay. So before my research, I had some assumptions. Um, like what might women want, what they might need, like all the different aspects. So one of my assumptions was that curvy women would be interested in an app that helps them find their size better. They prefer to shop online rather than in stores. Um, so after my assumptions came the research part. So some of my research methods were desk research, 5 interviews, a 12-question survey where I had 36 responses. So my desk research, what I found was that women do shop online a lot more than men, especially for clothing. Um, it is in fact true that it's difficult for retailers to make sizes past a certain amount of size. So you have terms like straight size, plus size, but there's also like in between where people fall, and after a certain size, people just get disregarded. Then from my surveys, what I found very interesting was that like women did or people did fact find that it was helpful to have labels when they were shopping. Um, and from my interviews, I turned one of the interview questions into a survey question because I found it very interesting. And a lot of women in my interview said that they had to buy multiple size of clothing just because like of the inconsistencies. So they buy their size, one size down, and then one size more. And so I put that into my survey. 42% of women said they do it sometimes. After my research, I developed some insights, um, and I found them very interesting. I think the most interesting one is, or which started to lead me to my solution, was some women don't even bother to shop in physical stores anymore due to the limited selection. And in my survey, I was asking if they used any apps that would like help them find their size better, and they didn't, but they did. A lot of them expressed that they really like the review section of the Shane app because it's so detailed. So after my insights, I came up with two personas. It's like two young women who are looking for clothing for an occasion. Um, One of them is like an experienced online shopper, the other one not so much. Um, and they just want to feel really nice in their clothing. Um, they don't want to like deal with the hassle of it not fitting. That is very difficult for them. Like they want to find something nice, look good, feel good, and they don't want it to be like overly complicated. So next came kind of my ideation phase along with my sketching. So from my how might we on the rest of my information, I started to make a sketch. I initially struggled here a little bit. I wasn't sure if I should do a website or an app, and I was really stuck on the idea of how it should look like. I had a lot of really good information, but I was just really struggling to get of like what my idea should be. So in the end, as I started to think more about all the data I collected, my solution started to become clearer, which, as you can see here, is like the basis of my apps. My handwriting is awful. Um, and here is some more sketching I did online. Then my initial wireframe. So once I got my idea down, I could start to put together like a lo-fi wireframe, kind of map out what I wanted to look like, what I would add to my app, etc. I was able to do 4 user tests. 3 of them were like potential users. This was some of the feedback that I got from my testing. So like my testing went quite well, which I was happy about. And even one of my testers was somebody I'd interviewed initially. Um, but this is an example of some of the feedback I got, like to like adjust my screen maybe to make it more visible, like these things. Maybe to label my review section as well to make it clear, because that was an important part of my research. So my design library was inspired by like these two um, websites. So one is like a clothing website that I really like the layout of it. Another one is like another kind of clothing website. It was very soft. I find it very inviting. And I wanted my app as well to reflect that. So I chose like kind of rounded lettering. The coloring is like a teal. I used a white background to make the clothes pop and the bodies pop. And I chose these like green colors because I thought they were inviting and warm. Now we'll go through my prototype. which will kind of start as a button in an app that already exists. So I'll just move to my prototype screen. Okay, can everybody see this?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So imagine that you are starting here in ASOS app and you see the typical model, but you would like to see more body types. You'd like to see this model in like another kind of body type. So you would click here, go to my app, and you can see various body types. You can select which one you feel like most represents you. Um, I thought it would be really nice to have like a style inspiration page so you could see like tops from Zara on other women who are maybe busty or pants from ASOS on women who are hourglass, etc. Um, so you could like kind of see a bit better like what hourglass looks like maybe. Then you can see now the model's changed. She's like, you clicked on hourglass. Now you have this curvy hourglass model. You can see the dress. You can see it from different angles. Um, I thought it would be really nice again to like reinforce like visibility and like that there are so many different body types. So in addition to you can choose your size, you can also change the body type in the size button. So you say, okay, I'm a 48 and I'm an hourglass, or I'm a 48 and I'm an apple, and then the model would then change. Um, from my interviews, the review section was a big thing, so I decided to include that. And I tried to model it after this chain app that all of my interviewees spoke about. So you have pictures, it's very detailed. You can see different type of women wearing the same dress. And then you would complete it by adding it to bag. And now you see the model's changed. It's now added to your bag. Okay. And what's left for me to do is clean up the rest of my screens and continue to work on my UI, work on my buttons, organize my frames better, continue practicing using Figma. And I'd really like to make a community page because I thought that was something that felt really important. Thank you all for your time and gracias. Yeah, thanks to everybody. It's been really great. Thanks to all the mentors, to like all of my classmates, just to everyone, my partner for also being my test dummy sometimes. So yeah. Yeah.
Amazing, Danielle. That's for you. I really like the idea. I would like to use it.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank
keep
you.
iterating, keep testing, and I'm pretty sure you will have an amazing project so far to show. Amazing.
Thank you.
Great,
Thank you
great job.
so much.
So also you have a lot of comments on the chat, so you can go for it and feel proud of yourself.
Thanks.
And last but not least, we have Amanda.
Hello, everyone. I'm so embarrassed right now because everybody had so many beautiful slides, and well, mine is not so pretty, but I will rely on the app, okay? So stick with me, it will be cool. So let me see if you're actually, I will turn off my camera because I'm in Brazil and I'm not at my home, so internet may be a little weird. Let me see if I can still know how to share a screen. You probably seen yourself now, right? No, maybe?
No. Now
Not
yes.
yet.
There we go.
So now you're seeing my presentation, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And for some reason, I'm having a lot of pop-ups. I hope you're seeing. Okay. Well, first, hi, I'm Amanda. So I'm a business analyst. I am a tattoo artist. I am a dog lover and a lot of things. And this is my final project. So when we were at the beginning of the bootcamp, we were challenged to find a problem and to create a digital solution to fix it. So I was looking around me and I had the following situation. I've moved myself many times and I just moved to Porto in Portugal. I didn't know many people at the place and it was hard for me to find several establishments open, like pharmacies, supermarkets, because, well, since the city is small, some places work at their own time and there's not much information online to rely on. So basically, at this process, I had to understand if my problem was real or not. Okay, this was my initial problem: how to know when some establishments are open in my new city. So during this stage, I started to talk with more people, and even this bootcamp made me talk to people. Okay, because in spite of what it looks, I'm really shy. So I had to ask in my job for how people behave, how they get to know when some things are open, like restaurants or any of that. And by talking and talking and talking with people, I started to understand how to walk around the city and how the city works. But then I realized that, okay, why was I not talking with people at first, right? So basically, I was trying to fix on that I was not talking to people. And I realized that the real problem is not being connected with people from the town that couldn't help me to figure out what's going on in the city. So this was the real problem, not being connected with people from the town, and not the problem about the establishments not being open, or I didn't know how to walk around. So I wanted to understand again if people feel related to this issue of not being connected with people, especially when they're new. And then I was trying to define the problem. So the problem is, it's hard to make friends when you're new into a city. And after a lot of research in 5 Whys, I understand that groups and apps to meet people are more focused in aggregating people in the situation instead of matching people through their interests, making it hard to connect. I can give you an example. I can go into expat, I don't know, Brazilian or even Portuguese living in somewhere. So I can see a lot of people who moved, but I don't really have much things in common with them. It's just that we are in the same situation. So I don't feel like approaching them to ask things because we don't have much in common, you see? So I went around to understand if more people relate to that. And well, I create this hypothesis that is, we believe that creating a way to make newcomers to make friends will make newcomers to understand how the place works and feel part of a community. So I did this pre-research to find who would be my competitors. So I have Meetup, more or less TripAdvisor, and Facebook groups. I think Meetup, this is more or less in the order. And well, what I wanted different from these apps, I selected some assumptions. That is, for instance, it's hard to understand how a city works when you have no friends or people at the place. Online friends tend to remain online and not being attached to a university or a job office make hard to connect with people in the new place. And also, I wanted to learn what connects people, what newcomers like to do, what kind of hobbies they can fit into the city. If there's any app that I didn't know running around, what are the pain points of moving into a new city, and all of that. So with all that in mind, I was able to define these questions that I wanted to do in my interviews and surveys, okay? The results. I interviewed 7 participants, and my research reached 50 people. Okay. So meanwhile, most of the people move into new places with family or partners. They mainly don't know many people at the place, or when they know, it's just between 1 and 3. And half of the people who answer the research, the survey, sorry, told me that they were relying online to meet people. So my main idea was trying to keep simple, as always. What is the issue? It's hard to connect with people, especially when you're new, but I can put this into any other situation. For instance, COVID, it's hard to meet people, especially online, when you don't have a topic in common with them. And during my interviews, I had the chance to talk with Gazal. And for instance, she told me that she used Bumble Friends, but she hated it because you have to choose if you want to be friends with a man or a woman. So it's very binary. She doesn't like to make friendships based on gender, and also apps based in pictures don't. It's not very appealing for her because, well, you don't make friends based on how they look, basically. I also had the chance to talk to Christian, and he told me that he met people online, but it was frustrating because the conversation the thing didn't go forward because people didn't have much things in common with him. So he went to Facebook groups and all the meetup events and all of that, but he didn't felt really connected with people. Also, I spoke with Soledad. She also graduated here in UX design. And she told me that she actually moved from Barcelona to Spain, and she entered a Facebook group, but she didn't like it too much because there were too many people to chat, and it was like not very focused. And speaking with Jana, she told me that she had a good experience having meeting people through Facebook groups based on interests. Well, she also told me I had this opportunity to meet her to do this interview, and she told me that it's very hard if you don't know what you want to do yet. So since she knew that she wanted to paint, she researched it for painting groups, and then she met people. But if I'm on my home, like trying to discover what I want to do in town, it's kind of hard to meet people. On this conclusion, I define it that most of my assumptions were confirmed, and I defined that on my first target would be improving the experience of making friends, people who want to hang with someone based on real interests in common. So this will be my first target. Then I will improve the experience of getting to know the place. And how will I do that? With a great UI that matches people based on real interests and giving visibility to people of who need someone for one activity. Now, how may we? I try to keep it as simple as possible. So how may we make the experience of making friends easier through an app? How may we create a feature that brings people together according to their hobbies? And how may we incentivize people to explore the city? Here I defined what the user must be able to and what the app may allow the user to. So the user must be able to create an account and log in, enter in an event or create an event, show their interests and see other people's interests, see people based on interests in common, verify the profile for safety and see people who are also verified, see upcoming events in town, and see each other's profile. And the app may allow the user to see events happening near to the user, see events happening based on their interests, filter events to people from the same gender as the user, because this happened a lot in my research, especially with girls, because they want to meet just girls for safety. See all the groups that the user is participating, edit or add more interests, edit the user's profile, enter in a group chat up to 5 people. Sorry, there's a typo here, but up to 5 people in order to discuss the details of the event. I created 2 archetypes, which is the active and the receptive. So awful names, but I couldn't have any other better. So the active would be someone who wants someone to do an activity, and the receptive would be someone who wants to find an activity to go on. Okay. I created 2 personas, which is João and Rita, and well, one is a student who shares an apartment, and the other one is a photographer who lives with her girlfriend. And basically, the goals of them, it's slightly different. One, João wants to meet people and skate around, take good pictures, eat good food, and Rita wants to do some exercises, movement the body, and good talks, take good pictures, and drink coffee. So they have slightly different goals, but some of them match, and that's the point of the app. About the solution, I will not present this because I realized that everybody was showing the Figma, so I will skip to the Figma. Can anyone say if it's seeing the Figma screen? Because I can see you guys.
We can see it all right.
Sorry?
We can see it.
Yeah.
Okay. So I will start here. This is Bubbles. Basically, I try to create an identity, okay, about the app. So the identity is a bubble. A bubble, you can go into a bubble to meet friends. So bubbles tend to be small and with people of your confidence, to put like that. So bubbles, on bubbles, you match your interests and you make friends. So I will go to the onboarding with you guys, where you can register, and you will see basically what bubbles do. You can join or create an event, have a brunch, explore a city, or do anything you like. You can always see when people share the same interests as you, okay? And the events are up to 5 people to attend. Once someone attends your event, a bubble is created. So a bubble is basically a group chat. Signing up, here you will have the hello, and you will be set to show your interests. Then you can select everything you like and hit save. And after that, you can complete your profile. So you can upload a picture, your date of birth, a little about you, your gender, and you can connect all the apps to make a really cool profile really about you. Hitting save, you will be directed to your calendar. This is, to put like that, your dashboard. This is your calendar. By now, since you don't have any events, it is empty. So you can explore over here. And while you're exploring, you will see many options to find your bubble, for instance. You can see them based on you, which would be the most interest anchor. And you can search for a location also. That will be, you can put, like, for instance, a place, or it will go automatically to your location. You also will have advanced options where you can meet people from your gender only or search for events happening today, okay? And here, basically, you can also create an event, but I will show you how it works with someone else's event. So for instance, John wants someone to go to the surf session, and he's given a little brief about the surf session in Matosinhos. On Saturday morning, Joan also likes surf, movies, and nature, the same as I. And in this bubble is already Sandra. So if I join this bubble, I will be in a group chat with John and Sandra, and it will be happening Saturday morning on Matosinhos, but I can also edit here. And if I want to, well, the navigation is not working, sorry, but here I will have some settings to leave the bubble or to report if anything happens, okay? So basically it will be here on my bubbles. the bubble that I just got in. I can also slide to leave the bubble. I put it two options for people. And there you go. To go back to explore, and if you want to create an event, you can go hit the plus and create an event. Once someone joins, a bubble is created. So bubble is the group chat. You can put the event name, the description for how many people. So here you can put up to 5. You have this only verified people can join, and this appear also on my research because some people wanted more security, where you can put the location, when, and you can hit if it's in the morning, the afternoon, or the night. And you can put also a tag to the event and then hit create event. Also, you have your profile, which is not working, sorry, but here, well, sorry, is the navigation. Yeah, I probably forgot to link it. But you will be basically having your profile over here where you can see this screen. Let me try to zoom in. It will be your profile. So you can change a picture, change your gender, change your age if it's wrong. You can verify your profile, put a little bit about you, and you can also add your interests, connect with other apps, and well, hitting in my interest, you will be delivered to the beginning page where you can see where you can put more interests. And well, after, I don't know what's happening with the navigation. I feel sorry about that. Okay, but well, this is not coming back. Maybe if I restart it. But after that, well, if you join a bubble, it will always appear on your calendar at the time. And you can also receive some notification on it. Let's see if it works. So here you join the bubble. If you go to calendar, here it is. So the bubble is in your calendar because this is the session that will happen. And you can also find all my bubbles, okay? And well, that's it about the app. So, sorry. So, about the little information of the app, the mood board. So I chosen the blue color, especially because Facebook and Twitter uses the blue color, and I think it's very intuitive for social media to put like that. I created a simple logo also to match with the palette and all of that. Simple illustrations. I didn't want it anything polluted. I just wanted to keep simple, and my font was Montserrat that I choose it on mainly on the third size. And I cannot show you wireframes and all of that because I changed it so much. It was like more or less 12, if I'm not mistaken, 12 user tests. So I'm sorry. So I changed a lot of things into the prototype. And I also would like to thank you, all of you, for the insights, for the support. Mercedes is on the call, so thank you so much, Mercedes. I know I traumatized you, but it was very helpful. Thank you, Clara, also, because you helped me so much with the navigation. I really thought I couldn't do this, okay? But I think that's it. The biggest feedback that I got so far was from the user test, that everybody saw the app and they said, okay, it may not be the most beautiful thing ever, but the solution is right. So you're on the right track. And that for me, that made my day. So I will shut up now. But thank you so much, guys. Hope you like it.
Bravo, Amanda. I love it. I remember during the first week when I talked with you that you have that idea, and now to see it on real, it's amazing. I love your research that you find, as Mercedes said, another route to go, and you went from that, and it's amazing. I love the UI, the illustrations, everything. Love it. Great idea. So you have a question here.
Yeah, just to answer, this is not my illustrations, of course not. If that was, you wouldn't see like any results because it was hard. It was hard. Any other questions?
And here is a question from Katarina. She asks, what are the criteria to verify people? How do you make sure that only verified people get access to the app?
No, it's actually not access to the app. So basically, imagine Tinder or Bumble. I copied because Tinder or Bumble, they have this verified option, so you can like put your thumbs up or anything, take a photo, and then will be verified by machine learning or anything, and you will get that verified just like in Twitter. So you can put events to verified people, so that way you can assure that you are going to meet someone that is real. I'm not putting this as a not to go in the app. Everyone can go to the app, but it's good for you to verify so you can prove that you're yourself. Okay.
Nice, fair enough. Well, you have a lot of comments in the chat. I don't know if someone want to share a comment, if they have any question.
Amanda, you did so good. I know you also struggled like me. So like you did a good job. So it was really amazing.
The worst part was that I had so much fun doing this that I always went to bed so late. So that was the worst part. I have so much fun
Yes.
doing Figma, and I realized that I like more the UI than doing the research. I don't know if this is fair, but you guys went all the research and put in things. It was so pretty, and my research was like, blah, blah, blah. But at least the UI I have fun. So thank you so much for the feedback.
Now is the time to get to all of you and please feel proud of yourself, you all ladies. And wow, I'm super impressed. All these projects, amazing. All the research on your process, the clean UI. Wow, Mercedes can have been here for almost 3 editions, right? Mercedes is at the 8 or 2.
This is the third one. Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, for me it has been amazing. So thank you, TAs, mentors, and instructors, because every time it's going better and better and better, and I'm super happy. It's made me feel amazing. So yeah, it's time to congratulate you all, and yeah, to take a cup of wine or a beer and celebrate. Now, on Friday you don't have class, so now you can wake up later. And yeah, I hope to create more collaboration with you, with more projects. We, as you might know, we always look for companies that can come with challenges, and you can, improve all the knowledge that you have learned so far, and also put a new project on your portfolio before the hiding. So yeah, I don't know if you want to share something about the journey that you have been doing so far, or for the instructors. I know you already said it, but yeah, it's the stage is yours, ladies.
I guess like thanks. It was really nice. I think I kind of decided last minute to do the course. But
I
I'm
remember.
yeah. Well, it's it's a bit weird. It was something I thought about for so long. I spoke to Inez probably for a year and a half, and then I finally decided to go for it. But I'm so glad I did it, and I learned so much. And I really want to say thank you again to everybody. Like, it was really great. It was a great experience.
Thank you for sharing, Danielle. So, ladies, I don't know who else. A lot of comments. It's the most dynamic demo day I have been so far with the chat. I hope to see you around. We have, I don't know if you see our social media. For those who are here in Barcelona, I hope to see you around next week, I believe, on Saturday. I have too many events right now that I'm not sure, but I believe it's next week. And yeah, see you all in person and celebrate your hard work during these 10 weeks. And for those who are not here in Barcelona, I hope to see you sometime. And yeah, congratulate you. Amanda?
Please have a beer for me. That's the only thing I'm asking. Great job, guys.
Great job. Well, ladies, I'm gonna send you your certificates and all after course recommendation later this week. So wait for it.
Sorry, I just have one question that popped up. So we have the hiring day is already it's already booked. I'm a little
No,
bit
it's
lost.
gonna be February, and I'm gonna send you all the details later on. No worries. You
Okay,
will.
okay, so we will have time to work more. Thanks.
Yeah, yeah. Now it's time to relax. No worries.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
Okay, ladies, have a good night.
Bye.
Thanks
Bye.
to you. Bye,
Bye,
girls.
guys.
Thank you.
Bye, guys. Congrats.